Pathmonk is the intelligent tool for website lead generation. With increasing online competition, over 98% of website visitors don't convert. The ability to successfully show your value proposition and support visitors in their buying journey separates you from the competition online. Pathmonk qualifies and converts leads on your website by figuring out where they are in the buying journey and influencing them in key decision moments with relevant micro experiences like case studies, intro videos, and much more. Stay relevant to your visitors and increase conversions by 50%. Add Pathmonk to your website in seconds. Let the AI do all the work and get access to 50% more qualified leads while you keep doing marketing and sales as usual. Check us on pathmonk.com. Welcome to today's episode. Let's talk about today's guest. We have Colton Cabaniss from Polysols, National Sales and Marketing Manager with them. How are you doing today, Colton?
Good. How you doing? Thanks for having me on.
No, I'm doing good. Thank you so much for asking, and it's a pleasure to have Polysols and yourself on here. And well, let's kick it off, right? So that way our listeners could learn a little bit more. In your own words, can you tell us a little bit more about Polysols?
Yeah, so we are a non-wovens manufacturer. We specialize in what we do is we take Q3 product from a global non-wovens manufacturer, one of three in the world. We're the only ones in the country that have this contract, and what we do is we take their non-wovens, their pre-consumed recyclables, and then we repurpose them into different various building products, such as temporary floor protection, an acoustical underlayment, and then we have a whole division of our company that focuses on equine and equestrian centers.
All right, interesting. And so that way then our listeners could get a good understanding there of your company. What would you say is that key problem that you guys like to solve there at Polysols?
So there's a couple of different avenues that we go to market. If you're talking equine, the product that we have is we take our non-woven that we receive from the global manufacturer, and then we put it through our granulators, and then we incorporate it into the equestrian arenas. So it makes things a little bit easier on the horse's joints and prevents horse accidents, things that they would need, expensive surgeries on, like torn ACL, torn ligaments, broken legs, things like that. Impact resistance is what we focus on in the equine world, and reducing that impact on the horse's joints and ligaments. If we're talking, our temporary floor protection, the problem that we solve there is that a lot of temporary floor protections like drop cloths or ram board typically have to require a tape to take down. So if you're painting your house and you need to put down some protection so you don't mess up your expensive hardwood floors, you would usually use a solution that has a tape with it. The problem with that tape is that when you go to remove that temporary floor protection, you can see a permanent mark usually where that tape was, where it's pulled up floor finishes or anything like that. And so our temporary surface protection eliminates that because we use a very light latex spray to provide a tackiness to the back that doesn't pull up floor finishes, but also gives you a waterproof and skid resistant covering that can protect your surfaces for the long time. And then the other avenue is through our acoustical underlayment division. This is what I was initially hired for at Polysols. It's kind of what I consider to be my baby. And it's the golden goose of the underlayment world right now. So what it is, it's actually a rigid cut to size board versus like a rollout form of maybe rubber membrane or anything like that. It eliminates the need for a backer board or any kind of supporting underlayments with your sound control underlayment, like wooden underlayments or cementitious board, because our sound control underlayment supports any floor covering style while eliminating that impact noise. And you don't need any additional supporting products. So we're actually in that product category. We're the only underlayment on the market that I know of right now currently that supports sound attenuation, crack isolation, and waterproofing all in the same system.
Okay, awesome, great. And so then, is there a certain vertical segment? Is there an ideal ICP there for you guys?
Not typically, no. We don't really get into those key metrics or anything like that. As far as how we are, we're a little bit smaller of a company, so it's a little bit more tight knit. We can usually keep those things in house and discuss those when we need to.
Okay, perfect. So How would then somebody usually find out about Polysols? Is there a top client acquisition channel for you guys?
So that's my job, right? So that's what they hired me for, and they wanted to effectively put our products in the market space, to where they truly brought value in. And so the way we go to market is we go to market where the decision makers are. We don't pander to the end user typically, because we want to push our products through large scale distribution. We found that it's way more effective that way, to increase top line revenue. So our position is that we like to effectively meet in the same space that the decision makers are in. So that looks a lot like the International Services event that happens every year at the Mandalay Bay in Vegas, coverings, which typically, jumps around. This past year it was in Atlanta. Total Solutions Plus. We got a couple of different various builder shows that we go to, Pacific Coast Builder Show, Chicago Build, etc. And we really like to get in those same spaces that the decision makers are in. I target those decision makers beforehand, and then usually typically find out if they're going to be at the show or not. When they are, then that's when I can make my introduction and usually show the products that I have that are pertinent to each decision maker's product categories.
Definitely. Okay. All right. Great. Thank you so much for sharing that. So that way, then our listeners could go ahead and visit you guys. They could always check you guys out at polysols.com. What role then does the website play for client acquisition?
Yeah. So we're kind of in a little bit of a, I guess, holding phase on what direction we want to go with the website. We, in the past, targeted more end user, been a little bit more end user focused through our website means and our channels of distribution through there. But now that we're starting to acquire more and more distributors to partner with us, we seemingly think that we're going to push that website in kind of a different direction, to where it's more so just showcases our products. You can pull data sheets and whatnot, and then locate distributor information of where to buy.
Okay, great to hear that from you. So on that note, then, is there any tools or tips or methods that you would recommend to our listeners as far as some website lead generation?
It's just staying diligent on your day-to-days. And truth be told, there's a lot of different ways that you can do that. What we found effective is a direct mailing campaign. So we make sure that we're pushing out direct mailers to the market, just to generate that interest and to help drive traffic. So we put QR codes on our marketing material that would link you right to the page of our website that you need to go to. We just stay consistent with that and try to push it out.
Okay, awesome. Great. Well, let's switch then gears a little bit then here, Colton, and let's talk about you as a leader. What are some key tasks you like to focus on your day-to-day work?
Market research is what I really truly put an emphasis on a day-to-day. If I really had to break it down, I would say that probably about 40% of my job is spent researching the market and the trends and things to stay on top of things, especially within the acoustical underlayment sector of our business. Construction is ever changing. There's always new requirements coming about, new products that you have to incorporate, new standards that you need to meet. And so that's why a lot of that research goes back into that sector, just to make sure that I stay on top of that. Because people in the market really and truthfully, they know who's full of it and who's not. They can really tell a difference if you know what you're talking about and if you don't. And so I try to make it a point to try to be the smartest guy in the room. I want to know everything there is to know about what I'm talking about. And I just try to be very well read on the subject matter at hand, so I, look like one of those guys that they can trust as an expert.
Definitely important. All right, awesome. Great to hear that from you. And how then do you usually get your information? Is there a preferred channel where you like to stay up to date with all the news in the marketing world as far as trends, strategies?
Well, so the strategy that I typically use for that, I came from distribution, a large scale distributor that focused on MRO supplies. And so in the MRO world, there's a lot of different components. There's a lot of nuts and bolts. There's a lot of widgets, a lot of things that you have to learn. In that sector, I got really good at Google and finding sources that I could, definitely verify that they are accurate sources of information, and try to find multiple sources through Google. Obviously, AI has played a big part in helping out with that search and locating those sources quicker. Through ChatGPT, I've been able to definitely increase my productivity as a salesperson and marketer, for sure, because information is basically at my fingertips. It's right there. All you got to do is just kind of really search for it, dig in a little deep, and you'll find what you're looking for. So.
Definitely. All right. Great to hear that from you. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And let's jump into our next section then here, Colton, which is our rapid fire question rounds. Are you ready for them?
Sure.
All right. Then first off, Colton, what is the last book that you read?
Walking in the Dust of Rabbi Jesus.
All right. Great read there for our listeners. Good recommendation. Next up then is, if there would be no boundaries in technology, what would be that one thing that you want to have fixed for your role as a marketer today?
When I read ahead on this, the questionnaire there, I kind of looked at this one and I thought to myself, hey, this is a double-edged sword of a question here. Really and truthfully, the challenges of the job are what make the job rewarding in itself. As a marketer, as a salesperson, you're constantly reaching out to people. You're constantly trying new things to see what sticks, to see what works. You're throwing darts at a dartboard and hoping and praying something sticks to the wall that's going to generate a response. And then when it finally does, and you see all your work coming into fruition, and you see those leads turn into orders, and those orders turn into long-standing relationships that you're able to build business on, that is the reward itself. So honestly, I don't think I would take any help from technology that doesn't already present itself here. But certainly, you have to be able to change and adapt to the industry itself and to the market. So staying up to date, like I said, using those tools that are available, like AI, to help enhance your knowledge base and to really increase, your productivity as far as a marketer and a salesperson. That's what you want. And if you realize that the grind is the goal, then you'll be successful as a salesperson and a marketer. Because that's the ultimate calling there, to be able to grind it out even when nobody else wants to. And that's how you become successful in this industry.
Definitely some great advice there. But next then is, and then if there's one repetitive task that you could automate, what would that be?
It's also a good one. I would say probably making phone calls. But I don't want to make phone calls with the robo voice, that everybody else has. I would want like a more personable touch to the phone calls. If AI got good enough to, recreate my voice, I could, just tell it to make these calls and have it do it for me, and it would sound real and not fake or computer generated in any kind of way. That would be the way. But I think we're a little bit farther away from that than I think I want to be right now. So until that time happens, we'll just keep picking up the phone and making those calls ourselves, I guess. Definitely.
The way technology is going, right? It might be sooner than later.
Sure.
Awesome. And well, finally then, Colton, you do have the experience in the marketing world, no doubting that. So what would be that one piece of advice that you would give yourself if you were to restart your journey as a marketer today?
Fall in love with learning sooner. I've always enjoyed learning the things that I want to learn throughout, my education, throughout, my early 20s and into my 30s. Now that I'm in my mid to late 30s, I wish I would have learned to learn or learn to love learning, even if it's something that I'm not particularly interested in, because that is something that's really helped me grow over the last 5 to 6 years now, is learn things that I don't want to learn. So love the learning process, and just really just dive into it each and every day, and hope for the best out of it.
That's some great advice there, not just for yourself, but for our listeners. And well, Colton, it's been a pleasure to have you on. But before we do end our show today, I do want to give you the last word. Say someone forgets everything about the interview today. What is that one thing they should remember about your company?
Yeah, we have a great price point on our non-wovens that we can deliver at a lower cost than what you can get from overseas. Take it, this is American-made product. It's made here in America. We can keep it here in America. We don't have to, ship it out, to other countries or recyclers to, really do something with the material. We have great products that we've repurposed it into now. So it's keep this up and keep going after the green products like ours.
Definitely important. Hey, well, Colton, thank you so much for being on with us. And to our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. And I'm looking forward to our next episode at Pathmonk Presents. Thanks a lot, Colton.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks.